Not too long ago in West Virginia, the teachers decided that they weren't going to take it anymore and they struck. And it took a while, but finally they did get a pretty good deal for their effort in terms of pay, benefits, and one of their biggest concerns actually was health insurance costs and things like that. Now, the media, I think, did a particularly poor job at talking and covering that topic. But despite that, thankfully, teachers unions around the country did pay attention. And in the wake of the West Virginia strikes, other states have decided to take some sort of collective action when it comes to their education system. Oklahoma is one of the latest. And it was announced a day or two ago that they were going to do a walkout on Monday. They hadn't, as far as I know, announced any sort of ongoing strike, but they were going to do a demonstration. And one of the reasons is that I believe that they are at present the 47th lowest average paid teachers in the country, which is pretty insane. And they hadn't gotten a raise in something like 10 years. And so they announced that they were going to do that walkout. Now, Oklahoma lawmakers decided to do something to try to ward off that walkout. And last night, they gave final approval to a bill that will generate $450 million in new revenue from taxes on cigarettes, gas, and diesel. And the extra revenue will go largely, but not entirely, to fund an average $6,100 pay increase for teachers. Now, that might not sound huge, maybe, but I have a feeling that Oklahoma teachers aren't making $200,000 a year. And so that is something, certainly. But it's not gonna be enough to stop the walkout. One of the president for the Oklahoma Education Association, Alicia Priest, had this to say after it was announced that that raise was going to be funded. While this is major progress, this investment alone will not undo a decade of neglect. Lawmakers have left funding on the table that could be used immediately to help Oklahoma students. This package doesn't overcome shortfall caused by 4-day weeks, overcrowded classrooms that deprive kids of the one-on-one attention they need. It's not enough. We must continue to push for more annual funding for our schools to reduce class size and restore more of the 28% of funds they cut from education over the last decade. And I'm glad that the union there is not just focused on their own wages of teachers, but also of support staff in the schools and funding for the schools, which has trended down not just in Oklahoma, but in a number of different states over the past decade plus.
Yeah, exactly. This is a state where teachers were having to subsidize 1 day a week working at Walmart to actually just make ends meet, 4 days a week. And then also just the pay, and filling quotas. There were so many teacher spots left empty that they were just filling quotas with secretary spots and whoever, just completely unqualified people to be teaching kids. But I think that the biggest takeaway here is the preemptive measures on behalf of legislators because of the fear of striking and the fear of unions. We're talking about a 100-year war on workers and unions that we've seen take place from the rich and powerful. And it's worked. I mean, we've collectively erased it from our consciousness. We don't understand the actual monumental movements that unions and workers have had, the 8-hour work day, the weekend, all labor protections. I mean, so this is a huge measure, and it's also just showing how scared legislators are because they know the power of workers and the power of people walking out because they know who really puts the wealth in society and who makes society function. Because the rich and powerful will cease to be able to do anything without the workers at their behest.
Yeah, and they put them to the test in West Virginia. There were like literally no schools in any county that were open. And so like imagine being a parent, right? And having to figure out like, what are you gonna do with your kids like that day, right? And they like kept the strike going until they won. And so teachers around the country are seeing like, hey, if we want to get what we deserve, then we need to go on strike too and put them to the test. And I don't even think they got to the walkout here. They didn't even get to the actual walkout.
We will get to that.
They will, but they just threatened it. And then they got a giant increase in their pay for everybody in that state, and they got what they deserve. It's not a question of getting like more just because you want more. It's like people need to get paid what they're worth. And right now, teachers across the country, in most places, aren't getting paid what they're worth because we have this radical right-wing social experiment called trickle-down economics, where we give all the money to the rich people and it somehow spreads to the rest of us magically with the magical trickle-down fairy. Like it doesn't work. And we're now reaching the logical conclusion of that social experiment and realizing it's completely false. And we have to figure out a different way to do things. And we can't just cut public services down to the bone because you're cutting teachers and you're cutting firefighters and you're cutting your neighbor.
I don't think that the answer is cutting or actually making other workers pay for the teachers. You know what I mean? Like taxing cigarettes, taxing oil. This is just other average workers who are just going to be paying more for gas, paying more for cigarettes, paying more for alcohol. And I don't think that's actually the answer. I think the answer is taxing the rich.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
But can we put this in context? I mean, this is one of the happiest stories that I've read in a long time. One of the reddest states in the country, the state that produced Scott Pruitt. Is every story about Oklahoma here?
At the end of the day,
Oklahoma special. It's
I mean, who pays attention to Oklahoma? It all is in one day. Good Friday, we're talking about Oklahoma. Okay? That here is a red state that agreed to raise taxes. Just that, even no matter where the taxes are coming from, and on oil and gas, this is extraordinary, and a really great, hopeful thing for the future.
And in their constitution, you have to get 3/4 of the legislature to agree in order to raise any tax, right? So they had to get 3/4 of a Republican-dominated legislature in both chambers to agree to this tax, and that, to me, is also really hopeful because you're starting to see this this populist brush fire revolt, not in places like New York and California and Washington and Vermont. It's happening in Oklahoma and West Virginia, and people are tired of it, and they're not going to put up with it anymore, and they're going to force even a dominated Republican legislature. I can imagine it's probably 75% Republican, voting to the tune of 75% to increase taxes there because they realize this social experiment of trickle-down economics, it doesn't work. It's broken.
And it didn't even require a tweet from David Hoke.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, I love that 75% threshold. And Oklahoma is obviously not the only state that has that. And the states that have the extra threshold for certain types of laws, why is it always for taxes? What state do you need 80% of the vote to take away abortion rights or something like that? It's only raising taxes, and that's one of those amazing things that if you get enough of a majority where you pass it at some point, then you just cripple social progress and legislative progress, literally, possibly for decades on any number of different issues. It's one of those trickle down policies, actually. But yeah, and I find this to be positive too. You mentioned David Hogg. I love that the unions are getting more active. I think that there are few individual things that could be better for America right now than an entirely invigorated, active, passionate union push across the country, across all industries. But even outside of unions, in the past year or two, we've seen a number of huge marches, even recently, the March for Our Lives, and that people are getting out there. They're getting out there in the streets for the marches. They're getting out there to actually run in primaries and all of that. And I know some individuals might look at a particular march and say, that seems like a big waste of time. I don't understand that. I'm not of that opinion. I think that Americans have been politically apathetic for far too long. So almost anything that they can get motivated for, I'm a fan of. But when you see people marching for literally the concept of science or for those sorts of things, that I think is a very positive thing. And I am all for unions being as big of a part of that as possible.
Yeah, and these people are scared of the contagion of strikes. I mean, we saw the West Virginia teacher strike worked. This is going to work. Unions and strikes work, and they put the fear of God into business legislators and business owners. And I hate that workers are demonized. I hate what workers who walk out and stuff. They're like, oh, you don't care about the kids. These people don't care about the kids. They're cutting public funds. Our schools are underfunded, and there's no incentive for the rich and powerful to put funding in schools because they don't need the masses educated. It's mostly service sector or jobs that are just going to be automated later. They just want the small 1% that they can put in their private elite education. So we need to embolden workers and support them for walking out and just encourage that this is really the answer to hold the rich and powerful accountable in our society.
But conservatives are happy to give them guns.
Oh,
of course, as many guns as you need, we'll pay for them.
Pencils, no.
We'll get you bullets, pencils, crayons, paper. I just don't have the money. But if you need guns, we've got that covered. That's like the crazy Twilight Zone politics we're living in America today.
I was in DC for the march on Saturday, and it was exhilarating. And I don't think that energy that was created by those 800,000 in DC and the millions all over the world, I don't think it's limited to guns. I think it is lighting the match that is going to spread all over the place and helping unions, helping teachers. I think we're moving into a really positive time as we head into the midterms, which is where the real tsunami can happen.
What you just watched was one of the videos that we do today, but we actually do a whole 2-hour show every single day. It's a podcast. You can watch it in video or listen to it as audio. You can download it, you can stream it, and you get it completely ad-free if you could become a member of the Young Turks. TYTnetwork.com/join.